What's up, guys? Thanks so much for clicking on the video. My name is Leah, and let's recap and review Young, Famous, and African. This is seasons 2, episode 5 and 6. So let's get into it. Y'all, let's get into episode 5. So episode 5 starts off where episode 4 left, where we still see the confrontation between Bonang and Luis. So in episode 4 at the end, Swanky, Zari, Fantana, and Luis all decided to hang out. So they're still at the table going back and forth. Bonang is on one. She was on one. And it was like, what are you really angry about? Because there was nothing she should really be angry about. Like, he apologized to you profusely. He did it at least like 2 or 3 times when he made that misstep with Fantana, because I understood, like I said in my last review, what Bonang was saying, as well as I understood what Luis was saying. Like, pretty much like, Fantana is an up-and-coming artist. She's not a well-known artist, like the people on TikTok like to remind us. But attaching yourself to someone whose star is a lot bigger than yours and who is known to have like flings with women, like different type of women, will sometimes dwindle your own light to where people are not focused on the music. They're focused on the story that surrounds you. So what Luis says does have merit. And then what Bonang said is true. Like, women should not be beholden to who they are with. Like, if, like she said, if I want to go around doing doing whatever I want to do, you still should treat me with respect. Like, the same respect you give men who be out here hoeing and stuff, you should give a woman that same respect. So I got what they were saying, but she was just on one. And Zari was like trying to tell Bonang to chill out, but she could tell that Bonang was just in it. And I don't know, like, because Luis' story about Bonang was not that deep for her to be this salty. And also not that serious to label him a liar when Swanky was the one that blatantly lied to you. Like, girl, calm down. Calm down. So then it's a few days after that situation, we see Luis and Zari meeting up at a hotel. He's swimming without his shirt off. It was I didn't need that scene. But Luis pretty much says, like, bro, I'm done with Bonang. I don't need to say hi to her. I don't need to say bye to her. She does not exist anymore because I apologized several times and she still pretty much gave me her you know what to kiss. And I don't believe I did anything to merit that. He also feels like Swanky didn't do his job as a host, and I actually agree with him. Like, if you're inviting someone to a function, your job as the person that invites them as well as the person that is hosting the event is to settle the waters. Like, Swanky definitely could have been like, Bonang, I get where you coming from, sis. I get it, girl, but let's take a moment. Luis, blah, blah, blah. Let's take a moment. But she didn't. Like, nobody did anything. The only person that spoke up was Zari. And she was just like, this is a lot. Fantana pretty much was being a follower because I don't even think she thought it was that deep. But then when Bonang got amped up, all of a sudden she understands where Bonang is coming from and she's offended. Like, girl, think for yourself. Because clearly it's looking like you don't. So we see a scene of Swanky and Annie finally meeting. And all this scene showed to me and told me is whatever Swanky said Annie did, she did it. She did it. Because the way Annie was so dismissive when he was trying to explain like why he was angry with her was like, oh girl, you probably did what that man said you did. So we find out that Swanky reached out to Annie first and was like, hey, can we meet up? And she obliged. We see Annie in this beautiful red suit. She was clean. Shout out to James Caldwell. Like, she looked amazing. So they sit down, but before Annie sits down, Annie calls him Jeremiah, which we find out is Swanky's government name. So I said, "Oh, this how we rolling? Like, oh, we getting into it like that." So, Swanky ends up being like, why did you share that voice note that I sent you to Bonang and Zari? And Annie's like, I was being petty. Like, you disrespected me in front of the group at Diamond's party, so I threw it back at you. So then Swanky starts to explain why he is frustrated and angry with her. Like he's telling her like girl, do you remember this and this? Pretty much saying like, do you remember the time we were on the phone when you were on the phone with your manager? I was on the phone. You didn't know I was there, and I heard all the negative things that you said about me, Annie. And Annie's like, Annie's like, bro, you're lying. You're lying. You're effing lying. And Swanky is like, no, I'm not. And do you want me to prove it? When he was like, do you want me to prove it? That made me feel like he recorded that conversation. Because he was on mute, he had the ability to record that conversation. Then they started to get into this argument about like who's more famous, who did who for what, who elevated who. And all I saw was hurt between both of them. Annie's upset with Swanky that he stopped talking to her for 7 months. You know, ghosting is hurtful. It is hurtful. It leaves you with a lot of unanswered questions. And Swanky is hurt that his friend that he revered as like a sister, like a big sister, was caught on the phone talking negatively about him, and he just couldn't fathom someone like her doing that to him. And Swanky even explains to her, like, you know me, like when I feel like I'm disrespected, I back away, I disconnect, and I go away. And so Annie apologizes. She said, I'm sorry, and you're my brother. Swanky is like, you know, Annie ran away from the conversation, and she did. She definitely ran away. She was very dismissive when he was trying to explain why he had issues with her. And the fact that she didn't want him to like lay everything out on the line made me feel like, girl, whatever he said you did, you totally did that. So they both basically left the conversation not trusting each other anymore, but still saying that they have love for one another. So we have this scene of like basically tea time with Connie and Nadia. And pretty much they start talking about Annie and Innocent's whole situation and the dinner from hell that Nadia was at. And Nadia pretty much tells Connie like what Innocent says. And Connie is like, I believe it. I believe it. She was like, I'm just surprised that he said it out loud in front of Annie like that. Luis pops up, and Luis just seems like a very anxious person. Like he was happy to see them because he was like, okay, at least at this dinner, I'm not gonna get yelled at. No one's gonna like embarrass me. I'm not gonna embarrass myself. So he's at the dinner. Naked shows up. Naked tries to act like Nadia did something and she was the one that made the situation so much worse with Innocence and Annie. But he basically said that Nadia gave Innocence the shovel to dig a grave for himself. Keyword, she gave it to him. He dug it for himself. He dug it for himself. So Nadia, yeah, the whole Nadia's question. And then Luis ends up explaining to them about what happened between Bonang and him and Fantana. He's pretty much being like, I apologized to her profusely. She got mad at me. I tried to explain to her what I meant by saying I didn't want Fantana to become like a side chick. And then Nadia says, like, you basically slut shamed her. You should probably apologize. And he said, yeah, I can do that. Naked is like, what did Luis do that riled Bonang up so bad? Because he was like, I've never seen Bonang angry. So then Connie pretty much blames Swanky because she's like, you were the host. You should have stopped them from arguing back and forth like that. Where were you? So our next scene is of a polo game. We find out that Naked and Kayleigh are hosting everybody to come to the polo game. So Naked has an issue with Luis. Luis pops up and Naked is like apprehensive. Like he don't know if he want Luis around because Luis is constantly getting into fights with his friends. And I'm like, the only person Luis has gotten into with is Bonang. It may be Andile, but that really wasn't getting into something. He just was like voicing his like grievances with Andile. But like Bonang was off her rocker. She was tripping. So Zari shows up. Fantana comes next. And what, I don't know what the hell Fantana had on. She had on this gold monstrosity of a dress. Like it was too short. It was a cocktail dress. And y'all know she got a BBL booty. So it was like the dress was like right under the cup of her butt. Like I said, girl, she always just looks thick and stuff. And it just doesn't make sense because I promise you, if she would go up like one size, things would look so much better on her body. She gives that she should be wearing a medium, but she goes for the smalls. And so She comes, and then Zari starts to explain what happened with Bonang. And everyone's kind of like, oh, like they're kind of seeing like, it seemed like Bonang was tripping. Bonang was tripping. So then Swanky comes. Swanky looked good. Swanky's walk as he strutted in, it looked good. So then Tubaba and Annie pop up, and Annie and Swanky hug, and everyone's kind of like shocked, but it was very much like a civil hug. It wasn't the hug that they used to like have. So then the whole like Diamond and Fantana situation pops up again, and the whole father of my kids, mother of my kids. Fantana looked real jelly with that conversation because Zari was wrapping up Fantana. Cause then like Zari was wrapping up Fantana. Cause then she blurts out like, he said you wanted to have like a surrogacy with him. And Zari's like, he's the father of my kids. If I want to have another baby and I want it to be by him, more than likely it will happen. Fantana just has too much dip on her chip, and she made herself look stupid. Because last time you had a conversation about you and Diamond, you said, I'm a city girl, he a city boy. But city boys and city girls don't catch feelings for the people that they tricking on. You're catching feelings for him, and you're making yourself look a fool. And I want to give you some type of grace because you're like 25, 26, but you're still an adult, and when game is being ran on you. Game is being ran on you. You just thought you was something special, and Zari let you know, girl, you're not, because he does this all the time. I don't know why you think you any different. And then what really got Fantana is when Zari said, "Are you jealous?" And she didn't know how to react to that. She did not know how to react to that. So then we see Swanky and Nadia having a conversation, and Swanky pretty much is like, me and Annie were like, okay, we're not great, but we had a conversation. Then we see Fantana and Luis talk, where Luis is pretty much apologizing to Fantana. Then Fantana gives Luis an ultimatum where she's pretty much like, Bonang is like one of my closest friends. She's like a big sister to me. I don't know if we can really go on this date, because Luis is pushing to have a date with Fantana because that you disrespected her. I really would like you to reach out to her so we could be something. And I was glad that Luis was like, I don't know if I want to do that, because why you giving me an ultimatum and putting conditions on how I should say sorry? And I'm like, that would have been the one for me. So we leave the polo game, and we see, like I said, Fantana got caught up and she looked dumb. She's at home. She tries to call Diamond, but he's not picking up the phone. Then she's like worried because I think she feels like, oh my goodness, I might be getting ghosted. And this whole scene gave me high school vibes. It gave like a girl that's like a sophomore trying to date a senior, or a sophomore trying to date like a junior, and really thinking that like they gonna be something, all the while everyone has told you like that person is running game on you, and you got caught up. And that's the thing, Fantana got caught up even though she swore she wasn't gonna get caught up, and now she looks stupid with egg on her face. So the next scene we have is everyone going to this gin party. So we got Luis, Nadia, Swanky, Kayleigh, Connie, Zara, and Fantana. And so they're there making gin. We find out that Connie had gin, like she knows how to make gin. She was going to have like a distillery, but then COVID hit, and like it ruined all the things that she had planned. So she's really having a good time. While they're there, Swanky ends up telling them that Bonang like left the group, like she left the WhatsApp group chat and she on and about her way. Everyone kind of paid it dust. Swanky kind of felt some type of way, but I don't think he could really say anything because Zari spoke up and she was like, "What did she expect us to do? Roll out the red carpet for her?" Then Connie clocked Bonang by being like, Bonang's not used to being around people that are on the same level, if not higher than her. So she expected all of us to like be brown nosers and be clamoring to be friends with her. So it makes sense why she would leave the group. And Swanky tries to make it seem like it was the group's fault for not really welcoming her, as well as it was Luis's fault. And Nadia gets frustrated because Nadia's like, you cannot put all of that on Luis. Like, she left the group because she wanted to leave the group, not because she got into an argument with him. And several other people have pretty much said that, like, she was tripping. So then Swanky, for some reason, feels like everyone is like ganging up on Bonang, even though she's not there. And he feels like he has to defend her, like her life or her honor at this moment. But what everyone is saying is true. Like, she's not here. If like she couldn't hang, like if she really wanted to be a part of this group or really wanted people to know her side of the story, then she would have stayed and explained herself. To me, she looked lame for leaving. Like, you left the group for what? And it's not Lewis's fault. There's something wrong with you. So things are getting mad heated at this point. Like, everyone's looking at Swanky because Swanky is raising his voice. He is yelling and everyone's trying to get him to calm down. Nadia starts yelling at him, and that's where the episode ends. So the episode opens up where we left off, where we got all the people at the gin party, and Nadia and Swanky are going at it. Like, they are yelling at the top of their lungs. Nadia is pretty much trying to defend Lewis because Lewis, you can tell, is uncomfortable and he's not a fighter. And he's about to like leave the party because he's like, every time I'm around Swanky, I'm getting yelled at. Like, I'm getting sick of this. And he's like, I'm getting sick of Swanky. And Nadia points out that normally Swanky is very level-headed, but now it seems off. Like, this is not him. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. So Connie basically said that Swanky, in her confessional, she's like, Swanky is rebounding. Like, he is rebounding and he's just doing a lot right now because he's hurt. So then we have a moment with Lewis and Connie where they break off from the group. And Lewis is just like, I'm happy y'all are speaking up for me because it's confirming that I'm not crazy, because I felt crazy after that situation with Bonang. And pretty much Connie's like, we know how Bonang is and we know how Swanky is. So then Lewis makes the conversation creepy by bringing up the whole surrogacy thing. And my thing is, there's nothing wrong with surrogacy. I don't think it's creepy by any means. But the way Lewis was bringing it up, it made it creepy. Like, he grabs Connie's hand, and I'm like, he is so socially awkward. And he's like wanting to have this conversation with her. And Connie's like, why are you touching me? And she's like, I want to push his hands away, but I can tell that he's hurt. So I don't want to be like, don't want to reject him, but why are you touching me? So then he starts talking about the surrogacy thing. Now that he knows that Zari wants to do surrogacy, he pretty much, like, the conversation could have been taken two ways, in my opinion. First, I felt like he was saying that, me and Zari are going to research, or maybe I could create a relationship with her by researching about surrogacy. But then the other part was like, he picked Zari to be his egg donor. And I'm like, you don't know this lady. And the fact that you just automatically assume that she would be your egg donor is mad weird, bro. It's weird. It's weird. So Connie's like, I'm going to have a talk with Zari about this. We see like two scenes. We see Kayleigh and Swanky meeting up, and then Nadia and Connie meeting up. So with Kayleigh and Swanky, the only thing I took away from it is that Zari's birthday is coming up, and Swanky doesn't know how he feels to be at Zari's birthday by himself. Like, he doesn't know how to feel because he felt like everyone was attacking him about Bonang. And I was like, first of all, nobody was attacking you. You were the one attacking others because you was the one that got loud first. Then with Connie and Nadia's whole sit down, they pretty much said Swanky is acting out of character. He's normally not like this, so it's kind of weird to see him this way. But Connie brings up that she was like, Swanky is looking for the new Annie. And maybe Bonang was supposed to be that, but he's pretty much like out in the sea by himself now because Bonang left. And I can see that. I can see that the way he sang Bonang's praises was the same way he sang Annie's praises. And the way that he felt like he had to like champion her all the time. It's crazy because the way that Swanky was defending Annie tooth and nail last season is the way that Swanky is defending Bonang. But it's like Bonang was in the wrong. Bonang was in the wrong. Fantana and Lewis go on a date. And honestly, Fantana didn't want to be there, nor did she want to go on that date. Because if you think about what she had on when she went on her date with Diamond at the house, she was in full glam, in her Fashion Nova best, showing all her assets, long blonde hair, makeup, like She had on her makeup, full beat and everything. With Luis, it was very minimal makeup. She had on a sports bra and some leggings and some sneakers. And then I think she had on a jean jacket or a bomber jacket. And then her hair, it looked like her natural hair, which there's nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with that. But it's like she didn't really put in effort to like look presentable. Like, and I know she did look, I don't want to say she did look presentable, but she didn't take the effort to do more. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, you know, when you're normally trying to get ready for a date, you try to put your best foot forward. And it didn't seem like she did that with Luis. It just felt like, I got time today. Let's go. You know what I mean? So there, he set up dancing lessons. It looked fun. She can't dance, nor does her body really move because it's a BBL body. He ends up gifting her these really beautiful, this large, beautiful bouquet of flowers. And Fantana was just being a bird in her confessional. My thing about it is, she shouldn't, like, just because someone treats you nice, they're not obligated to have your affection. You're not obligated to show them affection. But I do think it says something about somebody that is treated nicely that you revert to calling them like a pushover, or you feel like you could walk all over them, when that is how you should be treated. Someone should be thinking of very thoughtful dating experiences for you. Like, a date is not going over somebody's house. Netflix and chill, anime and chill is not a dating option. That's not something you do as a date. Like, he actually tried, and the fact that she kind of scoffed at it, I was like, girl, you should be trying to give him a chance after the way Diamond is like pretty much ghosting your ass right now. You look stupid. You should have just gave him a chance. Next, we get these scenes with Andile, his one of his baby mama, Saba, Innocence, and Annie. So they're all sitting down. We finally meet Saba. She is gorgeous. She is gorgeous, by the way. Very pretty lady. They have two kids together. Their relationship was a very tumultuous one. They were together, I guess, for 3 years, but then they ended up breaking up and getting married to other people. And then those things ended. And Andile was getting on my nerves, constantly touching that lady's face. But I guess she enjoyed it. They pretty much have like a will they won't they kind of relationship. Like, will they get back together, will they want to be something, but like they can't never get on the good foot. Like, something will be going good and then it just deteriorates. Pretty much what I got from this conversation is Andile is getting old. He's getting scared that he's gonna die old and lonely, and now he feels the need to spin the block and go back to his his old love affairs to see if those things can work out, instead of trying to figure out if he needs to start anew or get help himself to be a better person. Because the fact that you think Annie and Innocent's relationship is something to be mirrored and to be adored says you're not right in the head. You, like, there's madness in you, bro. Because that doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense that you would ever want to mirror your relationship after that, after their situation. And pretty much Innocence says, because Andile asks Innocence, like, when did you know Annie was the one? He basically said he was old and lonely, that he was in his house, it was so big and there was nobody there. You were lonely and now you just wanted someone to fill your house with people and things. Miss me with that. Miss me with that. But Andile is like, he might want to spin the block with Saba, but he got to get it together with his first baby mama, Rosetta. He is seen with Connie and Zuri meeting up. And Zuri is like, why is Connie asking me to be here? Why is this lady asking me to be here? And Connie basically tells on Luis and his weird request of Zari about her being an egg donor. And Zari is offended. She's appalled and offended. And she's like, why would he just think I would give him my eggs? These are valuable, precious eggs. Why would he ever think I would want to mix myself with him? Like, I'm Zuri the boss lady. Like who is Luis? So Zuri's like, oh, I'm gonna have to talk to him. We then have a scene of Andile and his first baby mama, Rosetta. And she's just as beautiful as Saba. Like, he got beautiful baby mamas, beautiful women. But their relationship was toxic. We find out that, like, they had a baby. And I think she thought the baby was going to fix their relationship, or their second child was going to fix their relationship. But it didn't. She ended up feeling like she had that baby by herself because he was really in and out of the picture. But she was like, they're friends. We find out that Rosetta and Saba used to be cool, but then Saba kind of was just like, because it don't seem like Rosetta has boundaries. Rosetta and Andile's situation and Saba's situation mirrors Zari's and Diamond, where they don't have clear cut boundaries. Because they have children together, they feel like they can do and say whatever they want, and no matter who the other party is with, they always should take priority. That's especially how Rosetta feels. But Andile doesn't want to be with Rosetta. He wants to be with Saba. Or that's what he's telling us right now in this episode. So we get to Zuri's birthday. So it's Zari's birthday, and we find out that pretty much everybody is invited, and everyone's wearing like different African garbs, looking really nice. I really like what Akani had on with the headdress. I really liked it. But girl, and Dile ends up inviting both Saba and Rosetta. I said, why would you invite your baby mamas to basically your ex, for lack of a better words, birthday? Like, you're messy. And Dile is messy, and he out here playing effing games. He is playing games. So Rosetta and Saba see each other, and they are like, what is this? What is this? Mind you, both of them are beautiful. I told y'all, both of them are so gorgeous. And you got Louis. Louis's eyes were so big. Louis was so uncomfortable. Like, he was just like, I cannot believe this is happening right now. I cannot believe this mess is happening right now. This is madness, bro. So then Rosetta and Saba get into it. They start throwing digs at each other. They bringing up like I think Saba started off by being like, well, that's why you had a baby, and that didn't really keep him. Then Rosetta says that Saba was cheating on her husband. Saba's like, no, I was not cheating on my husband. Like, girl, you're being weird and you're not making sense. And Dile is in his confessional like, why are y'all fighting at Zuri's birthday? Dummy, why did you invite both of them knowing good and well they don't like each other? And you pretty much surprised them. So then Swanky finally arrives. He has an attitude after seeing Louis. Like, he just has an attitude off rip. So then Louis and Zari kind of get into it about the whole eggs thing, because Nadia is going around telling everybody that Louis was asking for Zari's eggs, and everyone's just kind of like, ugh, that's weird. That is very weird. That you asking for this lady's eggs and you don't know her. And Louis is trying to explain himself, but it's not, like I told y'all, he not good at confrontation. So then they're all like moving chairs around, and Fantana was about to sit by what's his name? By Louis, and Swanky on the other side of the table is telling Fantana to put a chair in between you and Louis. And Fantana, being stupid, like she was really acting like she didn't have a mind of her own, does what Swanky is telling her to do, even though she was going to sit by Louis with no problem. And Louis is like, bro, why are you being like this? So then Swanky is like, I'm telling her to move because I'm trying to make sure she is safe, because I don't know what type of personality you're on. You're out here asking for Zari's eggs and this, and this. And so Louis is like, you know what? I'm done here. I'm done being around y'all. Like, I'm tired. And that's when Swanky yells out that Louis has 78 personalities, pretty much saying that like he has multiple personalities and nobody knows who he is. No, I don't think Louis leaves. Swanky ends up leaving after yelling out that Louis has 78 personalities. And everyone's just kind of looking at Louis crazy, and they're also looking at Swanky crazy. Like, it's crazy. And I do think it's kind of weird that they're springing on this new storyline of Andile and his baby mamas. And the only reason why they're doing that is probably because Bonang. I feel like if Bonang was still here, we would not have Andile bringing in Saba and Rosetta. But because they have this beef between them two, it makes good for TV. But yeah, y'all, that is it. That is all. Remember to be bravely authentic. Hot down in them comments below. Subscribe and tell me your thoughts below. Deuces.